Let's create your Blogger blog. First thing we need to do is to get to Blogger, so go to blogger.com, and when you do, you'll see this screen. All you need to create a Blogger blog is a Gmail address. Your ISU email is a Gmail address, so you can go ahead and use that for this assignment. Go ahead and click Create Your Blog. And then I have a lot of Gmail accounts. I'm going to use this Gmail account. You may need to type in your Gmail account, and you may need to type in your password. So if you need to do that, go ahead. And now we're in Blogger. You can tell we're in Blogger because in the upper left corner, you see the orange Blogger logo. But that's all that's on the screen at this point because we don't even have a blog yet. So you'll see in the middle, it says choose a name for your blog. And then it says title. Blogger is going to ask us for two pieces of information here. First, it's going to ask for a title. And that title goes at the top of your blog webpage. And this can be anything. And then it's going to ask for a URL for your blog. So let's start with the title. Let's say I want to call it Robin's Technology Blog. And this is a title, so I can use punctuation, I can use spaces, whatever I want. And then I'll click the next button. And now I need to choose a URL. And because this is a URL, it needs to have no punctuation and no spaces. So why don't I call it Robin's Technology Blog? And you'll see as soon as I stop typing, it says, sorry, this blog address is not available. Because Blogger has been around since 1999, many people have made free Blogger blogs, and a lot of URLs are gone. It'll take you several tries, many tries, to come up with a URL that's free. Let's say, for example, I want to call this Robin's Technology Blog for Class. And you'll see that's available. Now, it's a terrible URL. If this was something that I was doing for real and not for class, I probably wouldn't want it called Robin's Technology Blog for Class. But because it has some unique things in it, it has my name. I added for class at the end, which is something most people won't do. And because it's pretty long, I was able to find one that worked. I also checked out a whole bunch of these before I started the demonstration, so I knew this would work. It will take you many tries, I predict, to find one that works for you. But this works, so this is what we're going with. So you'll notice we have Robin's Technology Blog for Class, but then it also says .blogspot.com. Because this is a free Blogger blog, all URL addresses end in .blogspot.com. So when someone wants to go to my blog, they're going to need to type in Robin's Technology Blog for Class.blogspot.com in order to get there. Not very elegant, but fine for class. All right, let's click next. And then it says display name. How do you want your name displayed? I'm going to go ahead and say Robin Lindbeck and then click finish. So this is my main dashboard screen. You see in the middle is where my posts would be because we haven't done any yet. It says no posts. This at the top is a notice about privacy in the EU, so we can go ahead and get rid of that. And then we have another notice about beta features. We can get rid of that as well. On the left side of our dashboard are several things. First of all, up at the top here, you see Robin's Technology Blog. That's the name of my blog. If I click the drop-down menu, it will show me all my blogs. Right now I have one, but if I wanted to create a new blog, I could do that by just creating a new blog. This button will allow us to create a new post in a minute. And then here we are. You can tell because this is orange, it's letting us look at all of our posts. In a little bit, we're going to talk about layout because that's going to let you pretty up your blog a little bit. And same with theme. And then down here, view blog lets you see what the people who go to your blog are going to see. Let's go ahead and write our first post. So click over here where it says add a new post. And it brings us to where we can write our post. And my guess is, even if I didn't tell you anything else, you would be able to figure out how to write and publish this post, because this is an interface that's very familiar to you. There's writing space in the middle. There is across the top some formatting and other kinds of options. And there's a big orange button over here that says publish. So all you need to do is write in the middle, maybe fancy it up a little bit with some formatting, and then publish it. So let's do that. First of all, let's give it a title. Let's call it My First Blog Post. And then rather than have you watch me type, I'm just going to paste some text in the middle here. And again, once you have your text, you can use the items across the top here in order to modify the text. So just to highlight a few, you'll see here's the font type, so you can pick what kind of font that you want. Here's where you can select the size of your font. Here's your formatting, bold, italics, underline, strike through. Then here's where you change the color of the text. So let's go ahead and do that. Let's say I wanted to change that text to red. I just go ahead and click on red. The next is to change the background. So now if I want to change the background to this, you'll see now this is the background of the text. There's a link, there's an icon to add a link, to add an image, to add a video. You can change the alignment, left, center, right. You can indent, you can unindent, you could add bullets, you can add numbers. There's the basic amount of formatting that you can do to your text. And then once you get the text the way you like it, you can either preview it or publish it. I always like to preview before I publish. So let's go ahead and click on preview. And what you get is a preview of our blog. So several things I want to point out. First of all, you'll see the title, Robin's Technology Blog. This was the very first thing that we typed in when we got to Blogger. We can change this if we want, but this is the title that we typed in. And then in the middle here, in a white box, you'll see our blog post. So here's our title, my first blog post, and then here's our blog post with the formatting that we added to it. But it's interesting that it's not just our blog post, but our blog post is set in this image in the background. And then over on the left side here, you'll see my name and you'll see archive and labels. So this is the default template for Blogger. Now you can change that, and we're going to look in another video how to change that so that you can spruce it up a little bit and make it more uniquely you. But this is what the default looks like. We're done with our preview, so let's go ahead and just X out of this tab. And now we're back to our Blogger tab. So let's go ahead and publish. And then we'll just confirm. So now we're back at our Blogger dashboard, and you'll see in the middle, instead of being blank, now it shows our first post. So it says my first blog post, which is the title. It has an icon here that lets me revert to draft, which means unpublish it. There's labels. We don't have to worry about that. Delete if you want to get rid of it altogether. And then you can also view your blog from here. Now, if you want to edit it again, all you have to do is click on it and it brings you here. You can update the editing. Let's say I wanted to make this green. And then all I have to do is click, I can preview again, or I can just click update. And now this is what my blog looks like. So I'm going to click on the B to get back to the main Blogger desktop. Let's make another blog post. So click on new post, give it a title. Second blog post is a terrible title. You'll have better titles than this. Okay, this is our second blog post. I'm going to go ahead and publish it. And once I do, it brings me back to the dashboard. And now you'll see that we have two blog posts. Our most recent blog post is on the top. And our most recent blog post is always going to be on the top. So as you continue to add blog posts, your first one's going to be on the bottom. Your most recent one is going to be on the top. And that's all it takes in order for you to create your blog and to write your blog posts.